You sure you shouldn't do the control like this, you shouldn't change that. Everyone was so panicky about the control, so worried that they weren't going to get the control, because once you've started the study, you're completely committed.
The whole team are now really fired up, and the stakes are getting pretty high for everyone. The scientists are quite convinced they're not going to see anything unusual happening in the brain during acupuncture, whereas the acupuncturists are a bit worried that if they don't see anything interesting, well, it kind of undermines their whole profession.
Finally, it's the big day. Hugh will lead the study and carry out the acupuncture. Aziz will scrutinise the data and analyse the results. Mark and I will be on hand to check what's going on. And we've pulled off a coup. We've persuaded the University of York to let us use their state-of-the-art scanning equipment.
Now, we've come here to York to do these experiments. Why here?
Well, they've got here the new generation of MRI scanners, what's called the 3 Tesla version, which is a relatively high field strength. Only a few years ago, they were what's called 1.5 Tesla, so it's doubled in field strength.
So it's a hefty, big MRI scanner.
Big magnet in there.
The MRI takes stills, like photographs of the brain, but we're also going to use a more advanced form of scanning.
It's like perhaps having a video footage where you get a continuous stream of data, so you can actually follow someone's thoughts in real time, far closer than you can do even with the big scanners here.
So using these two techniques together, we ought to be able to see deeper into the brain what's going on at a particular time when acupuncture is going on.
I think so. Firstly, no one's combined these two techniques on the same patients. That's a complete first here. This particular design of study is a complete first, trying to rule out certain features. And using this field strength with this magnetic field has not been done before. So there's lots of firsts that are going on in this study. If you don't find it here, you're not going to find it anywhere.
The massive magnet is powerful enough to pick up a car, so each of the volunteers has to check for anything metal on their bodies.
The only thing I was worried about was metallic toenail polish.
It's far enough away, going from collarbones up, so that's far enough away, don't worry.
Well, we're just about to go into the room, but first of all we need to make
Hugh
sure...
takes the volunteers through the escape drill. Once inside the MRI, they'll be locked behind a 6-inch steel door, designed to seal the scanner from the Earth's magnetic field.
Mechanical way of getting out. So if there's a power cut, for example...
Right,
this
and
is
you're
the way
on
it's connected. But the thing is, actually, I'm in the room with you, so... But this is part of our regular safety routine.
The team are trying to detect the tiniest changes in the brain when the needles are inserted.
It's very slowly. It's wonderful.
CZ.
Even the smallest error at this stage could invalidate the entire experiment.
We've tried as hard as possible to be absolutely rigorous. So we're doing everything we know to make sure that we're really looking only at the effect of the acupuncture needle.
I've got a number here for it though.
We've randomised everything as much as we can. We've made sure the patients don't know what they're getting. We've even tried to not let the practitioner know, the acupuncturist know, what he's going to be doing until the last moment.
10 seconds till we rest. 3, 2, 1, start.
Finally, the experiment begins. A scan is first taken of the brain at rest, the baseline.
So you can hear that. So that's taking images now. Now it's having a little bit of a baseline period while they're up, so to get effectively the mind or the thoughts while they're at rest.
Then the team scan the brain when the needles are inserted. Hugh then twists the needle. This usually generates an achy, tingling sensation called de qi.
When the needle is stimulated, you quite often elicit this de qi sensation, and acupuncturists often look for that. They look for a de qi sensation as part of the healing activity of the acupuncture.
3, 2, 1, start.
When are we going? We're going now.
of the excitement for me of this experiment is that it's really bringing together Eastern approaches to acupuncture and a really rigorous Western scientific way of thinking. And it could completely change the way that we see acupuncture. Buried away in his lab at York University, Aziz begins to analyse the data. It'll be weeks before the analysis will be complete, and we'll find out what, if anything, our experiment has revealed. At last, results day.
Now, the results are looking really interesting. But Hugh, maybe you could just summarise the main findings for us really clearly.
First of all, with superficial needling, we get a picture in the brain of this area lighting up, in other words, becoming activated, increased blood flow. And if you look at this brain here, this is the front of the brain here, and this is the back. And we have a cutout there, just so you can see inside better what's happening.
That's no surprise. This is just the brain's normal response to the needle being lightly inserted.
What we found with deep needling, if we had de qi, the de qi sensation of a needle, that's the aching sensation, what we picked up was deactivation. Areas of the brain here, further back, where we've coloured that blue.
Acupuncture was having a real effect on the brain, and it was doing something completely unexpected. It was a result that surprised us all.
That reinforces the idea that something quite special is happening, something unique to acupuncture, something physiological.
Well, as a neuroscientist, I'm particularly interested in activations of the brain, but the surprising thing about this study is that we have deactivations, a decrease in neuronal activity, and that's something I think that neuroscientists have got to take into account.
Well, for me, the most extraordinary thing is, out of this whole study, is that we've got what you might call objective evidence. We've got biological correlates of acupuncture. Something's happening in the brain when you put a needle in. Different things happen with superficial and deep, and they're clearly associated with acupuncture, and it's something you can actually measure and quantify.
Superficial needling.
But the team was even more excited to discover where it was happening.
Associated with the needling, the superficial needling, also activated these deeper structures around here.
The area of the brain affected by the deep needling was an area often called the limbic system.
This part here was also activated, and what we know about these deeper structures is they're associated with our experience of pain, or yes, how we experience pain, how we modulate pain, and it's known as the pain matrix.
That sounds really exciting. You're saying that the bit of the brain that helps us decide whether something's painful, the kind of threshold that we have for pain, we think perhaps is being affected by acupuncture, and so maybe that helps to explain why acupuncture can help with chronic pain.
That's one hypothesis. Certainly it's a guess, and I would say it's quite a good guess, yeah.
Wow, well that's quite remarkable.
So, the discovery that parts of the pain matrix become less active by deep needling with de qi is astonishing.
Why? Why on earth would just that de qi sensation, be associated with deactivations? That we don't know. But when you tie it in with the fact that acupuncturists use de qi, does then these deactivations start to give us the key to how acupuncture works? That's what puts a smile on my face.
It's just incredible, I think, the way that acupuncturists say what really matters in acupuncture is de qi. And then here we are, you, neuroscientist, is saying, oh, we find that this amazing thing going on in the brain that we don't really understand that well, the deactivation, the being less active than normal, that only seems to happen during de qi. And maybe that's coincidence, or maybe that's the key to something really interesting.